evening and welcome to Meticulous Moments. My name is Juanita Kapp. You can reach me at meticulousmacarons@gmail.com or find me on LinkedIn. Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the globe, I've had the wonderful privilege to meet a wide array of fantastic individuals. These individuals have truly touched my life in so many positive ways. Amongst this group of people, there are authors, public speakers, life coaches, poets, leaders, and visionaries. They are the unsung heroes of our time. Therefore, I decided to start the Meticulous Moments movement out of a sense of my gratitude. It is my way of giving back to the community. Let us share and reshare their stories in an effort to build a better society. Good evening, everyone. This evening we have the privilege of spending time with the one and only, the legend, Marvin King. A little bit more about Marvin King. Marvin King is an American martial arts student and instructor of Shaolin Kung Fu and Shui Chao Kung Fu. He is a Southern Kung Fu Form's National Grand Champion, a certified wellness coach, Russian Kettlebell Challenge (RKC) coach, National Council of Strength and Fitness (NCSF) coach, and United States Collegiate Tai Chi Federation (USCTF) Tajikwon coach. Marvin is a who's who in martial arts legend and martial arts extraordinaire for 50 years of martial arts excellence. He currently serves on the board of directors for the American Martial Arts Alliance, AMAA. Marvin is the former Chief Capital Projects Manager for the District of Columbia Courts, a Project Manager Professional, PMP, Agile Certified Project Manager Professional, ACP, PMI, and Duke Certified Lean and Agile Professional, DCLAP. He holds an Advanced Master's in Project Management and a Master's in Program Management from George Washington University. Marvin is currently the CEO and owner of the Bowie Kettlebell Health and Wellness Center located in Bowie, MD, which provides lectures on wellness consultation, specialized kettlebell training, Qigong or Qigong I'd rather say, joint mobility, Shui Chao Kung Fu, self-defense strategies, fitness and nutrition programs. As an adolescent, Marvin decided to positively make a difference in the lives of others and continues with that commitment each day. This has been an amazing interview and we are so excited to share this with you this evening. Welcome, Marvin King. Good evening, Meticulous Moments audience. We are so happy to have you with us in another session. It is going to be a wonderful discussion with the amazing Marvin King. Welcome, Marvin.
Welcome. Thank you. How are you, Juanita?
I'm doing so well, thank you. I'm very excited for our session and thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Marvin, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, my name is Marvin King. I go by the term of Coach King, which is basically what I entitled my book, Coach Marvin King. I have a long history in martial arts, but I also have a deep love and history in strength training and mobility training, and working with a lot of different clients for wellness training. So it's very diverse, but I am from Bowie, Maryland. I'm in the United States, and you can find me there.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. And we are very excited to have you because we know that you are a very special individual. And that brings me to my next question. where did your journey with martial arts begin? Because we had a session and we discussed, but I would love for the audience to hear your story.
Okay, that's great. As I wrote the book, I also captured the story in there because sometimes you just need to know where the person's coming from as their thought process is in the book. So yeah, my journey started at 8 years old in the martial arts, and the experience wasn't always so delightful. Back in the '60s, that was. I'm giving away my terms or time on this earth. Okay, back in the '60s. So Bruce Lee was very popular back in those days. In fact, he was the one that inspired many martial artists to want to know how he can do these kind of things. And first American martial artist Bruce Lee was. So I wanted to obviously be like Bruce. I wanted to learn. I walk around with a little Kato hat on, and I used to wear Kato and fight with my hands in karate. So when they found out, when they offered a karate school or a karate lesson at a local high school, which is where they were mostly offered back then. They weren't like on every corner as they are today. So my parents took me there, and me and my brother and another friend, we all signed up there. And it was in a high school gymnasium, wooden floors, and we just wore jeans. So they would make us do punches, and the part that got to turn me, the part that kind of changed the whole process from being such a fun experience, is when they were working on self-defense techniques. So the instructor said, he said, we're going to teach you how to get out of a frontal chokehold, basic frontal chokehold with the thumbs on the neck. And
Yes.
the actual simple way of doing it was to take the index finger and push it in the hollow of the neck of the person attacking you, right?
Yes,
And it's supposed to release. But apparently that did not work so well for me. It worked for some of the class people, but it didn't work for me. And the guy was choking me. I got to be so embarrassed that I basically couldn't break the hold. So the instructor said, break the hold. I couldn't do it. And he had to basically tell him to stop. So that wasn't so joyful. And I don't know what I would never teach my students like that. But that's how I got started. And that was my beginning lesson. Okay, so after something like that, you don't think you probably want to continue martial arts training. But that's kind of changed myself. That was one of the first things I didn't run away from as a kid. And everyone thought that I would kind of never come back, but I wanted to go back, and I did. And I eventually learned how to get out of that one particular hole. But my journey started then. Okay. Wow. And it's funny what inspires you. And once that was over, I was always looking for somewhere to continue. So my parents put me in those kind of programs until I got to a martial arts school. But that was my experience starting out. It wasn't always pleasant back in the early days. Instructors were very tough, very tough on their students.
Yes, I was thinking now as you were talking, I was thinking it's commendable that you went back. Because you were growing up, you were a small child. And having gone through that, I mean, when you start, it can be quite scary because we learn very dangerous moves. And, for you to have gone back even after that experience, I mean, it just shows that it is in your blood. And your parents are just amazing for exposing you to those opportunities. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I have to thank my parents, and God bless them. Both of them have moved on to a greater person. They moved on to heaven. But that day was, they've always were there to push me to the next level. It was up for me to take it, but they were always there to support. It's great.
Yeah. That's a wonderful. Thank you so much for that wonderful backstory. Now we know where your love for martial arts developed in a quite not so ordinary setting where you were actually feeling a little bit stressed.
We ran a beginners or a children's class. I ran a children's class when I was teaching martial arts. And it was nothing like what I went through. I mean, obviously you can't do like that no more, but the parents will probably come after you. But you can't teach the kids like that anymore. At least that's not how I was. It doesn't work so well today.
Exactly. Thank goodness for those who are just starting out. Don't worry, they will work well with you. They'll treat you kindly.
Absolutely. The kids' programs are perfect today. Okay, the kids they love going to the martial arts schools these days.
Absolutely. I always say to people, when I talk to them, because we've got quite a few martial artists in the CLA. Rob Wentz, for instance, he and I had a lovely interview as well because he does jiu-jitsu. I also do jiu-jitsu, karate, and
Oh.
kickboxing. And then weapons as well. And I know Jose Escobar, he also loves MMA, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai,
Hmm.
kickboxing. So it's always wonderful to hear from the various perspectives what they go through. But I have to say, these days, the dojos are not as hardcore as in
Oh,
those, I'm sure.
absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't believe so. I don't think so. It's all about attracting the kids these days.
Yeah. Yeah. And the kids, I always tell them, I think that karate should be a subject in school so that it can teach the children self-defense, very
Hmm.
important, and also discipline.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
it's not just about going there and doing the sport, it's about how it changes you. So, yeah, I hope one
absolutely.
day they make it a subject in school.
I know that some folks think of the after-school karate programs as the next the next YMCA, where the kids used to go there after school. Now that's not as popular as it used to be, but
Yeah.
the martial arts schools kind of take that role because they really force the discipline. Not many places do that anymore.
Wonderful. Yeah, we should
Mhm.
definitely encourage the young ones. So, in the audience, if you have children, please make sure to take your child to a dojo. It is going to transform their lives. Any martial arts
Absolutely.
class.
Absolutely. Even if, depending on where they take it in their lifestyle or in their lifetime, they'll always
Yeah.
remember those lessons. I remember I put my real quick, put my daughter in those classes, and she
Yeah.
remembers those classes. She wasn't a stick to person back then, but I had her do it for a while. So she remembers
That's
them.
it. Yeah, she remembers, and I'm sure it imparted valuable life, morals and values into her life that she uses today without even realizing.
That's exactly how it works. You're right. So true. So true.
Yeah. Marvin, now a wonderful and interesting question is coming to the fore. That's our next question. You prefer to be called Coach Marvin. You've been in martial arts for 50 years. People can call you or should call you Master Marvin, but you prefer Coach Marvin. Please
Yes.
elaborate on this for us.
This is an interesting perspective. Because I studied various martial arts systems. Okay. And as you reach the higher levels, they can, the training gets a little more narrowed down to your support of that particular system. And I love them all. I love all the martial arts, and I developed families in all of them. I feel that master is very honorable, and I love it. And a lot of my students call me that when I bump into them, I see them. But in order for me, in developing of the program that I like to teach, it goes beyond some of the traditional concepts of martial arts. And I want to bridge the gap with a lot of people who don't care to learn martial arts.
Yes.
So, tending to lead with the name Master King or Master Marvin King,
Yeah.
puts a idea that, I'm going to be learning a martial art, and I have I don't want to learn it. So I just want to learn how to lose weight. I want to learn how to use kettlebells. I want to learn joint mobility. I want to learn Qigong, but I don't want to learn martial arts. Okay. They have their perception about what it is. So
Yeah.
coach seems to bridge the gap upon that kind of,
Mm.
it opens me up to a wider diversity of student or persons who I can help. Okay. I think that, I was teaching martial arts for many years, and when people don't want to learn martial arts,
Yeah.
the connection is broken, right? I can't, there's no reason to continue. But now I have a whole class of students and persons who are interested in getting strength training, and martial arts are part of the curriculum that kind of holds the glue together of the classes, because that's the martial arts are very good at holding it together. But
Yeah.
coach is not intimidating and is easy approachable to folks who don't want to learn martial arts. And it works better that way. So that's why I entitled the book Coach Marvin King. So it won't just sit on the martial arts shelves in the bookstore. It actually
Yes.
sit on the wellness shelves, and
Yeah.
I can pass it to all my martial art friends, but it will sit on a different shelf and impact folks who are
Wow.
who just the martial arts obviously is very large, but I think that there are people that don't do martial arts that are just as large. So I want to capture
Mm.
that audience as well.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that because your approach, it's a approach that's going to enlarge your reach. And I know
Hmm.
martial arts is your passion. You
Hmm.
love it, and you want to transfer the knowledge that you have because you want to elevate other individuals. It's not just
Right.
about, taking part in a sport or competitions or you've done that, you've been there. You want to help people to elevate their health. You want them
Yes.
to have happy, long lives. And your approach is amazing. And there's also humility in that approach because you have the title, but you choose not to use it. I think that's admirable.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And martial arts also, when if you study a certain martial art, you may not have reached a level of mastery in according to that particular martial art, then that
Yeah.
particular system won't recognize you as a master of that system. Okay.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
over a longevity of training, you can spend lots of times in different martial arts and your knowledge becomes very high. Okay. And
Yeah.
so the goal with that title, you have a different class of teachers all over the place that
Yeah.
say that at this particular style you didn't reach the level of mastery in this particular style, and in this style you did, and this style you didn't. So instead of going through all that,
Yeah.
okay, I decided to make the choice to learn multiple martial arts because it was
That's
just an
beautiful.
interest of mine. But that's not necessarily how it's recognized across the industry of martial arts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you are actually bringing the knowledge to the people to show them there's
Absolutely.
various types of martial arts. And
Yep.
sometimes some people enjoy one type of art more than another, and that's okay because it's really coming down to the foundation of what it's teaching us in our life, how
That's
it's going
right.
to affect your lifestyle, what it's going to bring out in you that you didn't even know was there. So
That's
I say
right.
I love that approach, and I know you are having a tremendous impact. Absolutely.
Thank you. Working with the American Martial Arts Alliance, I'm a board member of that group, and it's a diversity class of martial arts. There's karate, there's kung fu, there's
Wow.
jujitsu, there's ninjutsu, aikido. They're all part of the same. They're all part of this interesting family, and
Yeah.
I like that. I like the diversity of styles, the diversity of people,
Yeah.
and it seems to work well with my personality.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. And we back you and we cheer you all the way. As I know there's going to be great things that come from this. We are going to read about it.
Thank you. We,
Marvin,
yes.
yeah? Continue. No, continue, please.
Oh no, no. I think I may have. I think enough folks will comment on that piece of martial arts. So we'll go on to the next one if you have another question.
Okay. We'll see what transpires.
Yeah, we'll see how that comes back.
Yeah. Marvin, you are a valuable addition to the Martial Arts Hall of Fame. Tell us more about that, please.
Oh yeah. Thank you for that. Like I say, it's humbling to receive accolades for martial arts. You know that martial artists, we just do the stuff because we like to do the stuff. Even when I competed in tournaments, you win a trophy, you're like, I'm excited, but I really didn't do that for the trophy. I
Yeah.
wanted to see what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was just doing it because I love it. I want to see how I compare against other people in my age bracket,
Yeah.
in my ranking, and it's about that. And later on in life, you wish, well, I wish I had taken the picture. When
Yeah.
I had that, I wish someone had taken a picture of me back then. So, or you're thinking, in the 60s and 70s, no one had cameras. Look like they were rare. I mean, there's one on every phone now, and
Yes.
you would wish that gosh, there was a lot of people. I walked to folks and they said, you got video and pictures. I'm like, good gracious, I don't know. No one took pictures back then. It was just about you go there, you do it. If you got a picture, very lucky.
Yeah.
It's very rare. So to be recognized in these Hall of Fame only comes from when the American Martial Arts Alliance wrote out. They searched martial artists, and asked them for their bios. And
Oh,
I thought it was a great approach a great opportunity for me to share my story, which
yeah.
when you're in the 60s and 70s, martial artists, there were iconic type martial artists who are in the limelight all the time,
Yeah.
competing on heavily in the martial arts circuit. And then there were martial artists like myself who weren't competing on the national, international circuits or state
Yeah.
circuits. We just competed within our cities and we taught
Yes.
within our communities and things like that. But we were all part of that same era. And being able to share a bio through what the American Martial Arts Alliance provided was something I found an opportunity for me to jump on and put it out there.
Beautiful.
And when I started writing it up, it started really getting interesting about my history. And
Oh,
um,
wow.
so then you realize that, you've been around as long as everybody else has been around in the martial arts in the United States, which is in the 50s and 60s. And
Yeah.
the stories start looking the same. They all start looking
Mm.
like the ones you thought were the ones who were very in the limelight, iconic martial artists who have done great things and recognized for and expanded the martial arts through like magazines like Official Karate and Inside Kung Fu that were very popular, and Black Belt Magazine back in the day. They were in there all the time. Bill Wallace and folks like that, Tyree Cassell, Chuck Norris, those guys. But I never saw myself being with, I never felt I was in that class. But now
Yes.
but now that I'm being recognized as for the longevity and time spent in the martial arts, I'm meeting these people, and it's really seamless. I thinking that it was going to be like, I'm at this point and they're at this point. It seems
Yeah.
like we're all at the same point, and I don't know how that happened, but it's amazing. And I think
Yeah.
that's only a representative that you have actually been through that era,
Mm.
and we all kind of shared the same blood in a certain sense, so to speak, of like we told you, how it was brutal back then. We all went through that type of training. We can all communicate and talk on the same type of subject matter of what
Yeah.
we went through that era. And that's just the truth. And and that verifies that we were all there. And,
Mm.
I look at them, they look, and, we meet, we talk. It's just a great time to celebrate with those folks. And we meet once a year, and maybe a couple of times a year if we can, and
Wow.
large groups of martial artists. I think I mentioned one about coming up in January with you. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's fun and it's inspiring, but you have to, you have to let go of some mindsets and just feel free to meet these people and
Mm.
realize that they have a lot to offer and that you have a lot to offer because you came up in that era as well. So
That's
being a Hall of
wonderful.
Famer, it's not like you wanted, that was what my intention was to be. I'm just amazed that I'm recognized and humbled that I can fall within that same group. It's a great opportunity and a great feeling. And it's just
Yeah.
wonderful.
That's wonderful. Now, I was so excited when I heard about that. And I was thinking as you were answering, I was seeing you typing out, your biography with everything that you've done. And I guess you looked at it and you read it and you were like, did I do all this?
I did. I
That you
know.
realize how much you've
Yes.
done.
Yes. It's amazing. I know for a time there, I was studying basically two martial arts at the same time, and that's how
Wonderful.
and that's how it expands so exponentially, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm studying this martial art and competing in competition. I'm studying this martial art and competing in competition, and you're gathering experiences from both martial arts, and then you're training with folks from a whole different style of martial arts, all within the same time frame. So actually, it's like maybe 2, 3 different styles you're practicing in all the time. I was just addicted and totally engulfed into the martial arts training back in
Yeah.
the late 70s and 80s, throughout the whole 80s and 90s, was
Mm.
pure as much martial arts as I can get, which led
Yeah.
into the fact that I think that some of the, I basically overtrained my body and worked very
Mm.
hard. And I started running marathons. I was doing martial
Wow.
arts, running marathons, doing strength training, doing bodybuilding. And I was like, your body just gets burned out. And I talk about those things in my book, some of those, how that can actually
Mm.
be detrimental to your health if you're doing
Yeah.
too much. And sometimes we just need to back off. But no one could tell me back then because they didn't know I was doing all these different things. You follow? So if you're studying one martial art, you don't tell those people that you're doing another martial art. Okay.
Mm.
It's
Of
almost
course.
like there's like you're doing this one during the day, you're doing this one at night, right? So it's just it just that's just the way it is. But
Yeah.
so they're not honoring what you're doing there. You just have to find time to do both of them, and
Yes.
I found other folks have experienced. I asked other folks about that, and they say, "Yeah, I went through the same thing." And it's interesting how some folks are the same. How we've gone through some of those same challenges. We want to learn. We just want to
Yeah.
learn these different systems. Yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
yeah,
It is something that has the potential to become your complete focus.
yes,
For me as well, people always thought I did it just to be fit or just as a sport. It's not that. It's
that's
my
correct.
life. It's
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
lifestyle. It's the way I conduct myself. I think in a different manner. I feel stronger. I feel healthier. I'm more flexible. My focus
Hmm.
is good because karate, exercises both sides of your brain. You do everything that you do on the
Oh
left, you do
yes,
right. There's so many skills that came from that. And it really is something that builds your confidence. And that confidence spills over into other areas in your life.
hmm,
And I was
absolutely.
thinking when you were talking that, to the audience, I just want to say Marvin trained in two martial arts or more at a time. That's a lot of work. You have to be very gifted, disciplined, and focused to do that because each style has their own rules. You didn't just train it, you competed in them
That's right.
simultaneously. That
That's right.
takes skill, Marvin. I
It
mean,
is. It's crazy. Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy. I think that one martial art offers more than enough if you want to commit yourself to it.
yeah,
It's so much in one, especially if you're involved with and I actually was instructing in them too. Okay, I would teach in those
wow.
classes as well, so I reach high levels. So they offer so much, and
Mm.
sometimes I think it's detrimental to try to spread yourself so thin. If I had to do it all over again, I might focus and drill down on one system, but
Mm.
that didn't happen. I stayed with more than that, but today I just know more information. So under that type of study, I don't know if it was the Bruce Lee philosophy or whatever. You realize that all
Yeah.
martial arts aren't created equal. They're all different. They offer
Mm.
different things, and
Yeah.
they have one martial art has decided. Defense approach to defense and offense are a little different.
Yes.
So it gives you a wider range of competition,
Mm.
acceptance, knowing people, and I think there's a lot there that actually helps me understand people a lot better because I did that approach to training. So
Wow.
that's a lot to
And
it. That's a lot. Mhm.
that's a lot, yeah. And being so good at it that you went on to instructor level that, you worked with different people. And that really teaches you a lot, not just
Yeah.
about the art, but about how to work with people. I love that. Amazing.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Marvin, I had to put this question in. I couldn't resist after our virtual coffee the other day. So I'm just going to ask it with a chuckle. But I would love to know, what was it like to meet Chuck Norris? Because, I mean, he also does different styles and he also went to all the high levels, going to, I don't know, fourth, fifth Dan and so forth.
Oh my God. Chuck Norris, iconic martial artist. He did so much in the martial arts community. Uh, he competed in the 60s and he became very popular. He was a middleweight champion back then. And I think he also back in the day, you were lucky to fight one class of, middleweight, lightweight, or heavyweight. I think he fought all divisions. But I know he sparred with Joe Louis back then. I think they fought back then, and I think he may have. I'm not sure if he fought with Bill Wallace or not. But those Chuck Norris spent his time in the martial arts, and he did his time. And he's in the Air Force and whatnot. But he fought Bruce Lee, right? He fought Bruce Lee in Return of the Dragon, right? So he was a movie star, right? So come to find out, they were very good friends as you read the history of stories. Because he was the Martial Arts Super Show had Chuck Norris there. I think it was 2019, and
Wow.
I didn't know he was going to be there, right? This was my first time going to the Martial Arts Super Show, so I bought a VIP ticket. All right, I said I wanted to get the whole package, whatever they're doing, I wanted to be part of it. So I think it was 2019. So when I got there, and they said, "Well, because you're a VIP, we're going to take you to meet Chuck Norris." I'm like, seriously? He said, yes. I said, oh my God, what a good time to buy a VIP. I wasn't being conservative. I just bought the VIP. So you got in the line, you got to meet Chuck Norris, and, you got a picture with him. And I got to ask him how he likes his stuff. Everyone asked him about Bruce Lee, right? Obviously, they wanted to know about Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee. And I talked to Chuck Norris, and I said that back then there was a movie he made. I believe it was Black Belt. He's one of his first movies he made. And he jumps through the car window, breaks the glass and stuff. But he had gotten shot. He was a police officer, though. He got shot, and he had rehabbed himself in the movie by using this particular device, which I didn't know the name of it back then, but come to find out, it was the Total Gym. All right, the Total Gym. And he advertises the Total Gym now. But he actually brought that out in one of his movies, and he was working on it. And I thought that was the coolest machine. Okay, I thought that, and I said, Chuck Norris rehabbed his body with this machine in the movie, so it's got to be right. It's got to be a good machine. So, that machine showed up in a Sears and Roebuck in my neighborhood, right, when I was going to Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm like, that's the machine Chuck Norris used in the movie, right? So it was an older style Total Gym. It's an old one. So I went ahead and bought the Total Gym. And it was huge, right? You put it in, it didn't fold down like these cool ones are today. It's just big and bulky, right? So you may have remembered it. I don't know, but I love that device. I love that Total Gym. And I love the kind of training that required the use of cables. And I understood the direct correlation between cable exercises and weight training. And that really started me on a path of understanding how cables can improve martial arts performance, devices and machines like that. So Chuck Norris inspired me in a way that actually changed or led me in a direction of how I train or how I recognize a proper training for martial artists. Fantastic. So I told him when I met him, I said, I bought your first Total Gym. And he said, really? I said, yeah. I said, that was the best machine. That was the best operator. That machine changed my life. And he just smiled and laughed. He's a great guy. And we shook and took pictures. We took the picture. And it was just a wonderful time meeting Chuck Norris. I thought he was a great guy. And I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting him again.
Absolutely. I mean, that wasn't the first and the only time. There's going to be more times. I agree with you completely. And you know what shines through to me, Marvin, with many people that I meet that are in martial arts, they're always so humble. They're always so reserved. They are not people that go out and look for a fight. They are people that have the skills to protect themselves, but they will never go and start a fight, for instance. They'll always turn a fight away and say, let's rather pursue the path of peace. And that's just showing the amazing and positive effect that the art really has on them as individuals. And I'm
Absolutely.
very excited. I'm going to be at the event at the end of January. Praise God. I plan to do so because I'm going to Emilio's Romance Business Boot Camp as well. So I will
Mhm.
be in the area that month. So, God
Good.
willing, hopefully we'll see each other there.
Oh, great. Yeah, it looks like my American Martial Arts Alliance will be there, and I'm meeting. I'm
Wow.
actually going to have be meeting with him after we meet today on another blog. Okay,
Wow.
and
Amazing.
we're talking about some things they have planned for that event. So I will probably be there, and I look forward to seeing you. It's going to be exciting. This is exciting meeting you, and
Thank
our
you.
conversation is so much fun. I really like talking with you. I mean, talking your comment about martial artists. We don't look for the fight; we try to avoid the fight. Um, I find that especially the more you learn, okay, the more you learn about martial arts, the more you know to separate yourself from violence.
Yes.
In the beginning, it's all about how good you are with your technique, right? Are you're trying to develop a reputation, or your ego's driving your martial arts training to a certain point, and
Yeah.
you're learning how to be the fastest, the best, and drive, push. You want to be the number one guy in the tournament. And that's good because you want to improve martial skill. But as you become more knowledgeable about the martial arts that you're studying, you realize that
Mm.
there's a lot here and it's more than just the sparring and fighting. Now, some
Yeah.
folks just stay with the martial portion of it, which I talk about in the book, and
Mm.
it's fine. It's fine if you want to become a fighter, even
Yeah.
or you want to later on just become a teacher of that system. You have to
Mm.
delve deeper into the martial arts. If you just want to be a fighter, then you can obviously be a big part of martial arts, but it kind of stays at a place where you're just developing skill. And after your fighting days are over, then maybe you're ready to get into the rest of
Yes.
the martial arts study. So
People. Yeah.
everyone can find themselves in
Mm.
some martial arts practice. And I think that's just beautiful with the martial arts. It allows you to take the direction that you choose, and you can be the best at
Yes.
either one of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Wonderful. I love that answer. Absolutely. 100%. I agree with you. Absolutely. And it brings me to my next question. How has martial arts changed your outlook on life? If you look back over the years, how has it adapted your outlook?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That is a really good question because folks who don't study martial arts probably won't get it. But
Yeah.
uh, it's, and I find out if whatever art you study or whatever art or something, whether it be painting or music, changes your life, your outlook on life is based
Yes.
on your knowledge of what you know about your art, right? Art of painting, art
Mm.
of music. Martial arts have allowed me to gain a larger perspective, a broader perspective of people,
Yeah.
my own self study. It helps me to remain disciplined and more focused. And those are
Mm.
words that I've always used with martial art, discipline, more focused. But what does that
Yeah.
really mean? Uh,
Mm.
I can stay on target, on point, on interest more so than a lot of folks think that you're so focused, you're different than everybody else. You can do this. Well, maybe that's my personality. And
Mm.
I think part of it has something to do with martial arts humbleness. Okay. Understanding that I can do better. I can push. I can achieve more. Through my career, I did project management. I did construction management, and there's an art in that business as well. Okay, there's a couple videos or audio tapes on the art of project management, which was very intriguing to me because the art of those high level skills of management, I seem to adapt to very well because I look at I look more so down the road at the artistic view of building a building rather than just in the moment of building the building. I look at the whole project holistic view. And I think that comes
Yes.
from the martial arts. You can
Mm,
see the picture clearer. Now that
yeah.
doesn't go so well with the folks, some of the folks I worked with, because they don't see it that way. They see it as today is the important day, and this is what we're focusing on. But
Yeah.
it seems like for me, I'm able to be more calm while
Mm,
doing very complex projects because you can
yeah.
see almost into the. It's almost like I tell some of my friends, you can almost see into the future. It's like when you're a parent with a kid, you can
Yeah.
know when they're going to fall off the. You can
Yes.
kind of you can see, oh, they're
See
going to
it
fall.
coming.
You're there, you grab them before they fall, right? You can you can see into the future a certain way, okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
martial arts seems to expand that ability
Mm,
to do that. And I find
mm.
that very intriguing. And I've had to learn to had to learn how to not judge people because they don't see that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Not
said, all right.
everyone. So,
Yeah. I mean, can't you see that that is not going to work? They say, well, they don't
yes.
see it. So, okay, I have to back off a little bit and kind of view it from their perspective, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
to me, it saves time. Okay, as
Mm,
far as trying to do projects and uh,
yeah.
it's in working with people, I think it becomes a great. Some of the high level martial artists I know really know people well.
Yeah.
They can manipulate folks. They can be
Oh,
right at their same level. They can do
yeah.
lots of things when you reach a high level. So you have to
Mm,
be very careful, and you have
yeah.
to recognize the intention of the heart of people
Yes.
because you have a high level skill that's put into the wrong hands can
Yeah.
not be so good, right? So we
Yeah.
both understand that it's very important.
Yeah.
So I try to
I
let
agree
folks know
with
that
you.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a very, very important point that you raised. And I almost want to say that through our experience, I almost want to say that I mean, you've been in it for 50 years, but for the 6 years that I've seen and heard and learned and developed, I almost want to say that martial arts kind of develops your emotional intelligence. It
Yes.
is an
Yes.
art that develops you, not just, it's not a, it develops your soft skills, your emotional intelligence, how to work with people, how to know your limits, how to know the limits of other people. Yeah, I can almost say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You can see that 6 years is not a short time. Okay. You said 6 years, right? Yeah. That's,
Yes.
that's quite a while. So I can understand if you have a good teacher and you have a good system, and
Yeah.
they're teaching you a progression. Yeah. And you're seeing
Yes.
these kind of things. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you. I plan to join your online classes very soon as well because I want to learn as much as possible.
Oh, good. I did um, a Grandmaster John Terrian ran a international marketing martial arts campaign. It was 24 hours
Yeah.
during COVID, and this was
Wow.
inspiration to get the schools fired up again because a lot of martial arts schools suffered really badly during COVID.
Yes.
With folks not being able to attend classes. So his worldwide event, martial arts worldwide event, I was
Yeah.
asked to be part of it, and I brought in my program. And
Wow.
I said, they said, what slot do you want? I said, I want the early slot because my program is really based on really good for the morning. And it's not really a total martial art, but its impact is good for all martial artists. Okay.
Yes.
And that's
In
what it's about.
general.
So
Overarching. Yeah.
that's right, overarching. So I started the whole international. I started I think mine was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it goes every 45 minutes, every different
Oh,
across the whole world, right? I think 40 countries, right? So,
wow.
and that's different time zones. It's very complicated and complex because, if you got to South Africa from at 7,
Yeah.
you're at, different times like that, you're at 2. So, uh, the folks said that it was a really great start to the
Yeah.
program because it's offered joint mobility, qigong, and a kind of a great primer set, warm up. I call it primer instead of warm up.
Yeah.
Great primer for everything that everyone wanted to do the rest of the day. There was actually one other person I saw during the course of that period, because you could see it all on videotape. They videotaped the whole thing and sent you the recordings. And I just let the recordings run as I'm doing stuff and watching them during the course of the day. And there was only one other person that did a mobility type training that I offered. And I said, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm not so far off. People are expanding their understanding of what the body needs. And even if you're a martial artist, if you're willing to accept the fact that, okay, I've studied yoga and I've done certain things, I realized that there are things I can incorporate to bring together into my martial art. And I'm seeing the integration of different things that just come from different understanding of different ways of learning and teaching the body, and training how to be flexible, how to be mobile is very important to some martial artists. So they added to their programs. And it was kind of interesting to see how that happened, or how the perspective of that across different martial arts systems.
Wonderful. It's wonderful that you got to see that unfold, because it strengthens and solidifies your project. It solidifies what you do. It's coming to the fore more and more that what the approach that you are taking is the approach we need in our contemporary space in this martial arts era. So that's amazing. Yeah.
Actually, I had a student come from Canada, wanted to join my program. This is what triggered this conversation. He joined the class from Canada, the one you're thinking about joining, and he had a great time. And of course, we're still great friends. But the fact that, he came aboard, and as soon as he came aboard, like a month later, their school opened their doors again because COVID was starting to open, and he got very busy with his school and whatnot. So he didn't have opportunity to keep my class because of time frames and whatnot, but it was a great time to meet people from different places and develop friends because we had common understanding of what we're teaching. It was really good.
Absolutely. It makes me think about something that I told you the other day when we were meeting. It is such an anomaly. Let me try and articulate this. It's about the experience. You understand this, because I would be, let's say I didn't have enough sleep the previous evening, and I'm very disciplined. That's what martial arts teaches you. So even, we go to class. Even if you are tired, you go. And the paradox here is I would be so tired physically, and I would go into the class and I would do 2-3 hours training, and I would come out and I'd feel energized and renewed and just have the energy to go on just for hours and on end. That is the effect that the martial arts have on you. You can go there and you cannot feel physically, energetic, but just the movement of your body, the way that you use your body, the way that you get that mental break from the world, it's an amazing experience.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the feeling I like to get captured in all of my classes. I realized that, I had mentioned that earlier that I train endlessly. Okay. So to me, I think that no one's going to train like that, or that's not going to happen. But I'm sure folks still do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel that from my experience, I don't want to duplicate that with my people that I train. So the whole approach now to teaching and wellness is that you feel good after your training, just what you just described. If you're feeling good and you were tired before you came, and now you're training and you feel better, that's a good thing. And that's what it should do. But if you keep pushing that, keep pushing after you feel good, now you're going into a different part of your training. Now you're probably feeling more tired than when you came, right? So understanding when to reduce the training or to calm down became a part of my program, which cuts the program down to 30 minutes.
Wow.
My strength building program is basically an hour, but it's based on the person being energized and not being totally fatigued at the end of the hour. So the class became very
Yes.
popular because people can
Absolutely.
complete it. They can do the whole class, and it
Yeah.
involved, and they feel really good at the end. It includes joint mobility, which is a unique process of priming the body. And then we have my kettlebell program basically involves the four parts. One is joint mobility, which
Yeah.
basically primes it, and then you get into strength stretching, which is unique, which
Mm.
is a unique way of building strength and flexibility in the body. And then
Wow.
we do the kettlebell strength training or specialty training for the day, and then we
Yeah.
have some type of short workout at the end. If the workout at the
Mhm.
end
Yeah.
is what folks get energized with. It's like everything sets up, and then at
Yeah.
this workout, because if you come in there tired, the first one kind of brings you around. The second one makes you feel better. The third,
Love
I'm
it.
learning something new, and that
Yeah.
often that energizes endorphins. You're learning something new, and I'm feeling good. And then you do this
Yeah.
short little workout, and then it's over, and they're like, "Okay, I'm ready to work out now. I'm ready to do more."
Woo.
But that's when I stop it. Okay, that's when
Yes.
I stop.
Yes.
I save that reserve to move on and do things that are also important in your life at the time you leave
Mhm.
class. You may have
Yes.
other responsibilities. You may have to go
Yeah.
grocery shopping. You may have to do some work at your home. You need
Yeah.
that energy to move through
To
the rest of your day, right?
yeah.
So this is where I stop them, but this is where they want to keep going. And I realize
Mm.
this is an important concept in the longevity of a training regime
Yeah.
or a training wellness program,
Yeah.
knowing when to
Pace
phase
yourself.
back and move into
Mm.
another part of your life because there are more important part. There are equal. I mentioned the eight dimensions of wellness mentioned in my book. That there are other things that are just as important than just
Yeah.
your training that need to be
Wow.
accomplished in the daytime. You have children, you have relationships,
Yeah.
you have spiritual responsibilities. There are just things you have to
Mhm.
always keep there, just as important. As soon as they get off balance, or one gets more attention than the other, you start to get off balance, and you're
True.
trying to always keep that balance. And it's
Mhm.
shifting. It's always moving. It's never stagnated. So
Yeah.
this is part of the training program, the wellness program that I teach about feeling good. You
I
brought up a good
love
subject
I
there.
love that. Yeah, and you are teaching people to pace themselves
Yes, yes,
because it's all about their health
it's
and their
about their
well.
health.
Yeah.
That's right. And I
Wow.
know that from doing too much one way, other things
Yeah.
get left out. I train when you're training so hard, like I did in my 20s, you don't care about relationships. You don't care
Yeah.
about, you don't want to work. You don't want to need spiritual responsibility. All you want to do is train, right?
Right.
And there's a certain time in your life you can get away with that, but you can't do that your whole life. Okay. So
No, absolutely not. Because life inevitably happens.
absolutely, absolutely. So as soon as life changes, you need to start understanding the eight dimensions of wellness.
Absolutely. We need that literature. We need your book. We need to balance out, especially now, with the times that we are in, especially after COVID. Balance in our lives is so,
Yes.
so important. And you are teaching people the tools to have a good mental state and a wonderful mindset.
Yeah, I thought that we had a class last Saturday outdoors, and one of the students, they decided that they wanted to have a celebration or a gathering where they can get together. Since COVID, we've been on Zoom for so long, right? They wanted to do something. She thought it would be a good idea to meet everyone in person. I said, "This is a great idea. What are we going to call it? Let's call it a celebration. And since I have a new book, let's call it a book signing, celebration of book signing."
Yeah.
So that's what we called
Wow.
it. And folks came out. And it was interesting what occurred. I was viewing how it was that day. It was a beautiful day. The weather was wonderful. It was early in the day. It got a little warm, but it was perfect. Everyone showed up. And I think we had about 15 or so folks showed up. And we worked out outside. And
Yeah.
kettlebells have a unique and very good adaptation to working outside because I believe that's
Mhm.
what they're best used outside. And folks who use
Oh,
them inside, they miss that connection of how it feels differently outside.
Yeah.
So most of these folks had never trained outside with the kettlebell. So I put together a nice program where everyone can do it, whether you're beginning or advanced student. And what they found out is that the energy feeling from working outside is so different. Kettlebells adapt to outside like Qigong adapts to outside as far as I get the feeling.
Mm.
And the
Yeah.
endorphins are flying high and everyone's excited. And all I heard that day was how good they all felt. And that was the feedback, how wonderful it all felt. And
Amazing.
that's what it's about. It's about how you feel. And because we were so disconnected during COVID, we took a
Yeah.
group picture. The first picture, everyone was about a foot apart, right? It's
Yes.
because,
Used
it's
to
like
that now.
we're all lined up like this, right? It's like I said, oh, that's an interesting pic. So I said, okay, let's pull it together. And then as soon as they all got together closer, they all
Yeah.
felt better. It just released the
Amazing.
level of stress that we've been carrying around for so
Yeah.
long. Not being able to brush elbows with the person next to you has
Yes.
really changed the way we interact with people.
Yeah.
And somehow you have to let people give people an opportunity to release that level of
Mm.
stress,
Mm.
even though if it's not every day, they need to have a place where they can release it because
Yeah.
the body adapts so well to what it has to do. And if over the years you're forced to be this way, your body will adapt to it. But I think
Yeah.
naturally you build a certain level of stress in your body that you just
Yeah.
learn to deal with. It's like being
Yes.
you just like a police officer has to learn to deal with his level of stress,
Yeah.
even though they carry it all the time, right?
Yeah.
And they get through, 30, 40 years, they can do it. But somehow that stress releases itself
Yeah.
either through some way in your body that is
Yeah.
unhealthy. And you just
Mm.
learn to deal with it, but your body is still taking stress. So the
True.
Qigong practice and kettlebell practice that I teach is to try to remove that level of stress from your body that you
Yeah.
don't even recognize you're carrying. You follow what I'm
Mm.
saying? So that's
Wow.
that's how deep I try to go with the understanding of the program I put together. Those are the philosophies that go into the program.
That's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that framework. And I know it speaks to every single person that hears about it, that reads about it, because it's an ultimate universal truth. We can do what we want. We live in a broken world. There will be stress inevitably. Here is the answer to deal with the stress that you're not even aware of.
That's
Because
right.
we want to have happy and healthy lives. And in our jobs, obviously, there is a certain level of stress in our families. And this program of yours really helps people, as you said, to find that release. I think that's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm trying, I want to get that out to more and more people, which inspired me to write the book.
Yeah.
And I know of people that suffer from different illnesses. I have my wife suffers from, she's a cancer survivor, and a lot of folks that I know have dealt with cancer in one way or another. Either someone's close to them or they have it themselves. And either way is stressful, whether you have it or a close friend of yours has it, or whether you got
Yeah.
to be a caregiver. It's just very stressful. It is amazing how we get through these things in our life. The work and the needs to care for other folks. So the program is about assisting those folks as well. Okay,
Mhm.
these folks are real people that don't get the opportunity to do the same type of workout that folks who don't have those problems have.
Yes. Yeah.
They can't spend an hour in the dojo. They can't go jogging as much as they like to jog. They just have
Yeah.
to go from one event to the next event constantly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Oh.
they do it and they manage it because that's what they have to do. But how do they release stress? How do they find a way to get through their day, or they're learning how to manage stress? I know a family member of mine that a caregiver, a good caregiver, gave everything. But now, since that level of caregiving is not necessary anymore,
Yeah.
still carries a lot of stress because residual stress is still there. And learning how
Yes.
to adapt and turn back into life, get your life back, and
Yeah.
exercising. How
Yeah.
do I start? What do I do? Where do I
Yeah.
go? And these are the people that I think need to understand what I'm teaching in this program, because
Yeah.
this is what I'm addressing your concerns. I want you to
Yes.
understand that I want your concerns addressed. It's
Yeah.
not, the program is based on an hour training, 30 minutes of training. We can
Mhm.
find a way to do it. If you don't have 30 minutes, we'll build something that you can work within it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm focusing on those people because I think that community, or that those folks out there really are in need, and I want to address their concerns.
Mhm. Absolutely. And it's good that you format something according to their lives. If they don't have that 30 minutes, maybe they have 10 or 15. But
Yeah.
getting that exercise in is essential because it really sets the tone for their day and their
Yes.
mindset, to
Yes.
achieve. You've mentioned endorphins. When those endorphins are released, you get that feeling that you are able to deal with your day. And that, I think, automatically reduces the stress. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Find, family members or people going through those scenarios, or especially caregivers and
Yeah.
cancer patients and other ailments. Of course, doesn't have to be those two things, but the
Yeah. Yeah.
caregivers are in all of them. The caregivers take a beating, man. I don't know if you've ever had to serve as a caregiver, and
I've seen it before. Yeah. Yeah.
they're not the ones. They don't have the ailment, but they suffer
Yes.
just as long. And
Yes.
those, when I talk to folks like that, and they're like, I don't have time. I get it. Okay, I get it. You don't have time, but you do walk from here to there, right? You do.
Yes.
You have to take a trip from this location to that location. Why don't you just walk it? And they say,
Absolutely.
oh, okay. And as you walk it, do a little breathing pattern that I'm teaching you as you're walking. Change the way you move your arms as you walk. Walk
Yeah.
heel to toe. Move in a smooth manner. Tighten your glutes as you push
Yeah.
through the floor. And they're like, oh, I never thought about that. You can get a good workout in that 10 minutes it takes you to walk from here to there. So
Wow.
we teach them to work on their body posture and pull your shoulders back. Don't let them slouch forward because you're tired. Fight the
Yeah.
resistance to fight the resistance of gravity of wanting to pull you down. You want to lift
Yeah.
back up. These things are what will help you realize that, okay, I can do something. And those are the
Yeah.
folks that I'm also addressing. Those are the folks that the program is tailored to.
Yes, yes. Caregivers have a very, very intense, stressful job. I saw my mom passed away from stage 4 brain cancer in 2020, and I saw the toll it took on her caregiver that was with her 24/7 because it is a 24/7 job. It's non-stop. So that is a very important point that you are addressing. Absolutely. They need
Yep.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And as a caregiver for my wife, I understand it. I get it because I go through it. And,
yeah.
my mom went through some Alzheimer's and dementia. And, you know, these are things that just occur. And you don't
Mm,
plan for these things to happen, but they happen. And you just
yeah.
want to, in my program, if I'm just doing the program to address people who don't have real world problems, I feel like I'm incomplete with my training. My program needs to be more complete. So this is where the development came from. Yep.
It's been a process, a journey.
Yes. It's been a journey. Yes. To put this together. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell me, Marvin, what's the benefit in training in various types of martial arts? Because it's so amazing to learn about your approach. What are the key benefits that stand out for you when we have a broad overview of what the art is really about?
That's a great question. I'm sure people who have done a similar thing that I've done will come with a different response to that. My particular response is that I liked a particular style because,
Yeah,
say, for instance, Swaja, which is Kung Fu. It's a
yeah,
northern Kung Fu system, and it relates and it deals with throwing a person. It's a combat
oh,
throwing art, okay, but it's
yeah,
Kung Fu. And I find out, then I study a fist martial arts system, which doesn't emphasize the throwing. So I'm
yeah.
like, why are these two things so different? Okay. Why? I mean, they're all about combat, right? but these guys don't want to do that, and these guys don't want to do that. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, I said, well, I think if you don't do that, then you may need some of that, so your combat is better over here. So
Yeah.
I felt like in order to be more of a complete martial artist,
Yeah.
I felt that I needed more material where I
Oh,
wouldn't be so sold on one method, which I
yeah.
feel needed, which I feel I can see that they obviously did not address the concerns of the other style. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it was very obvious to me, but both
Yeah.
claim to be the very best. And I'm like, well, that may be true, but I think to be really the very best, you need to look at these and really evaluate those styles. But that's just
Yeah.
my opinion. I think having that perspective allowed me to be clearer on various on why martial arts are the way they are, and the history of those martial arts are based on different stories, and that's
Mm,
fine. Okay,
yeah.
and I learned your story, and I learned your story, and they're great, and those stories are wonderful. But learning them has opened my eyes to both stories. And maybe the
Yes.
two folks knew each other who created the stories. So I don't know, but
Most
it's
probably.
interesting. That's right. It's interesting, the history of how martial arts move from stuff to stuff, from different from style to style. So yeah, my perspective is open-minded. I think it just leaves me with an open mind to different martial arts, which is it's just it's freer. I feel more enlightened that way.
Yeah.
I'm not judgmental of it. I'm not judgmental of the different styles. I think they're both beautiful. I think
Yes.
martial arts styles, whatever you decide to choose, is a wonderful way to go. You pick what you want to
Mm,
do,
yeah.
and not put down the other system because they have
Yes.
something just as special as your system. And
Of course.
I didn't feel that was a good place to be, thinking that system is better than my system. I think they're both beautiful, or they're all beautiful, and they have something to teach and offer to everyone.
Absolutely. They all the styles have something special,
Yes.
something unique, something that we can learn from. And you said something very important that I shape my life to the continuous personal development, the continuous learning. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. So I hope that
Wonderful.
answered your question. That was a good one. You get me on a hot seat here, with these questions. I hope we'll see how
You're doing well.
how some of them
You're
come
doing
back.
very well.
I like to I like to see how people respond to some of these questions and how I provided these answers.
No, you're doing very well. Thank you, Marvin. We are learning so much from you. We appreciate your knowledge and experience and the sharing thereof. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Amazing.
one of the teachers I'm working with now, they appreciate, they could see the history, or they could see
Yeah.
the experience in the way I take the classes, and
Yeah.
I love people who see that, and I love
Yes.
people who accept that, and we can learn and we can move forward. Right? It's
Yeah.
more fun, right? Instead of trying to suppress who you really are just so you can learn the material. I think
Absolutely.
being free just makes it less stressful, which is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we stress, we don't listen and we don't
That's
learn.
right.
When we relax and we drop the shoulders and we just enjoy what we are doing, that's when the inspiration comes and the lessons sink in. So I agree with you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, yes, awesome.
Yeah,
This is great
good.
talking to you.
Thank you. Wonderful. We still have a few questions left. When should you pop into your meeting, or are you fine to
No, I'm
continue?
fine. Let's continue
Okay.
here. Yes.
You'll tell me. Okay. I'll just take
Yes.
this part out. I'll just take these two sentences out. I just wanted to make sure I don't make you late for your meeting.
Oh no. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. This is
Good.
important. I like this. This is very important. That meeting, I can talk about that one later a little bit. We're good.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Marvin. Let's go to the next question. So our next question is, what are the health benefits of making martial arts your lifestyle? And that can actually tie in with the question also about your book, because I'm sure you discuss how that is going to benefit
their lifestyle and their level of health.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There are everyone studies a different, everyone who has studied martial arts
Yeah.
may have studied a different system. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't refer to a particular system in my program. I do
Yes.
mention that I do teach the Swajao as part of my curriculum if you want to learn it. And I teach basic Shaolin, not particular style, okay, but I teach a basic Shaolin movement patterns, which are uh, which are somewhat more leaning toward the self-protection phase. Okay,
Yes.
self-protection is a program I like to teach as well, is because it's just something you need. Okay, and as far as wellness, I think you need to know how to protect yourself. If
Yes.
you're going, it's just, that's my martial arts perspective about wellness. You
Yeah.
find that
Yeah.
most wellness philosophies are only about you feeling well and creating wellness in your life, calmness
Yeah.
in your life, uh, good eating habits, learning how to relax. And usually wellness books are on that shelf over there. Martial arts books are on this shelf. Uh, Self-help books are on that shelf. And and I love them all, right? I want to get some
Yeah.
wellness. I want to get martial arts, self-help. Oh, and then, oh yeah, fitness is back here. Okay. And then kettlebells over there. And I'm like, okay, I'll come out of the bookstore with like 5 or 6 different books, right?
Yeah.
Today that's $200, right? So,
Yeah.
I felt that the martial arts really broadens all of that. And the martial
Yeah.
arts capture all of that material. Wellness captures all that material. Okay.
Yeah.
Self-protection captures all that material. I'm like, they
Yeah.
don't have to be separate. Strength training captures kettlebell and strength training, weight training is all that material. So why can't they be in one book? Well, because, you have
Absolutely.
specialties. Yeah, you have specialists who have their own skill sets. And this is
Yeah.
where I found my way of teaching. I would teach kettlebells. I would teach weight training. I would teach martial arts over there. I
Yeah.
teach qigong. Well, I said, that's not my program. My program, I'm one person and I have this skill set. So I have to create it all together. I have to make it all be one. And it's to me, it was seamless because I was doing them, right? But when
Yeah.
I'm teaching them, if I say I'm doing martial arts, they're like, okay, I don't want to learn martial arts. I want to learn kettlebells, right? But then
Yeah.
they say, well, once I've done kettlebells, oh, now I want to learn martial arts. See, now the body, because their bodies change or the confidence change, now they realize, oh, well, now I want to learn qigong, but I didn't want to learn qigong before. So
Yes.
I'm like, well, how can I create a program where I can have them doing all this stuff at the same time?
Wow.
So this is how this book came to be, or this philosophy. I came up with the 4 pillars in
Yeah.
this book, which are based on bringing the important parts that bring wellness, martial arts, and strength training together. And
Yeah.
qigong is. I think the question you referenced, that the qigong is the most healthy thing that I feel that someone can do for themselves, which is not necessarily a martial art, but it's a part of pretty much every martial art training. And every black belt everyone who has reached a high level of martial art has done some level of qigong training. And they don't usually like to emphasize that piece until later in their careers, when they realize that maybe I need to, slow down a little bit and practice a martial art, and then transform into a wellness program. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not just saying that for myself, I'm recognizing it in the senior martial artists that have taught me that their
Yes.
program is all about wellness. And I was like, wow, I'm at the same place. And why is that? I mean, I'm like, this is incredible. I follow the path just naturally moves there.
Yes.
When you have actually reached that level, it moves there. Now, I talk to martial artists who have been doing it a very long time, but they haven't reached that level yet. They haven't reached that wellness part. They're still in the combat range, hard training all the time. I'm like, well, you're just not ready for it. Okay, it's fine, but maybe 10 years you might come there or whatnot. But if you want to continue your lifetime, you have to find a way to transform and make martial arts is about change. Okay, it's not stagnant. You're moving up. You're moving, and you're hopefully always moving in an upward direction. Okay, so that's the plan, to keep getting better, right? So I know. So as far as how has martial arts helped me, that is how it's done it. I felt that martial arts has helped me understand that if you have different skill sets, you have to find a way to bring them together. If you really want to help another person, or you want to excel in your own development, you have to find a way. Now, I understand that when you reach the highest level of a martial arts system, say 10th degree black belt, which is normally the highest range, it's about moving the system forward. Okay, it's about moving your system to the next level, keeping it alive and moving it. And that's the responsibility of the highest level of the martial arts, grandmasters. And it's just a responsibility. So you will find that the test for the grandmaster may be totally different than what you may think it is. Okay, say for instance, you're thinking that as a black belt, you have to break a certain number of boards, you have to do a certain number of kata, you have to demonstrate a certain number of forms, and then you learn more forms to the 2nd degree, 3rd degree, 4th degree, 5th degree, 6th degree, 7th degree. And then I was like, God, when I do to get a grandmaster, to get the 10th degree, what's it going to be? I mean, it's going to most of the time, it's just a promotion from the teacher to the next level. Okay. Because they transfer the responsibility to you, saying, okay, now you're going to be the person to carry on the art. And because you've gone through all this training, normally that's how it moves forward. And a lot of the ranks move that way. Okay. It's not always a grind to get to the next level. It depends on what the instructor wants to do. So to move the system forward, that's usually the responsibility of the grandmaster. And, I can't say that I reached a level of grand mastery in any martial arts system, but I understand that if you learn a certain skill set and you want to help another person and you want to move a philosophy forward, you have to find a way to connect to people. And then you can become a master of that. Okay. You can become your own promoter you can achieve success in that level of passing the material forward, which is pretty much the same, or a lot, not to take away the responsibilities of a grandmaster as they were given to that particular person. But the way I see it is that you have a responsibility to move things forward. And that's what I'm doing, moving forward my knowledge to help another person. Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because I'm thinking two words when you were explaining and articulating, the programs and the book and how you bring everything together. I'm thinking full package, because it's so much more than just being body conditioned. It's also strength training like you do. It's also being flexible. It works on your spirit, your soul, your mental abilities. It's not just physical. And I really, when you were speaking about the going to the bookshop and seeing all those different books on different shelves and bringing them together, I really thought that, it's the full package. You really show everyone what is the essence of what they are doing, what is the purpose, because instead of letting them figure that out in a sequence, you are showing them from the beginning what it's supposed to be like. You have 50 years of experience. So looking back, you know how to show them the better way to do things than the ordinary way to do things. Yeah.
Right. It's just seamless to me. And and I experienced it myself, and I'm teaching it. Just to bring it all together was the challenge. And that's where the 4 pillars came from. And believe it or not, I didn't really know it was going to be 4 pillars. When I started writing the book, it it came together as I was writing the book. And
Wow.
as I was writing it, I said, this is really connecting what was in my head.
Yeah.
And because the
Amazing.
idea is about being simple. I heard yoga students and other people who have taught for a long time are always looking for a way to connect that are simple ways. And
Yes.
uh, I know back in some of the early days of martial arts training, those teachers wouldn't say nothing. They just demonstrated technique and tell you to do it. And then
Yeah.
you'd have to just
Yeah.
do the technique and they wouldn't say anything. I mean, okay. Uh, that doesn't always work with today's martial art. People, in the West, they want to know, why'd you do that? I mean, tell me
Yeah.
that. So
What's
nowadays,
bunkai in the move?
yeah,
What
explain
is
it.
it called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I came up was that, you just do it and you figure out why we did it. Okay. And I thought that was good. You, how many, how many techniques are in that particular move? I'm like, okay, I don't, you had to make us study them and try to figure out
Yeah.
what this move means. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Yes, like this, for instance, is grabbing an arm. When
yeah,
you start to do passeio, you don't really know why you're doing that with your hands. But later
that's
on,
right.
you learn grabbing someone.
That's right.
So yeah.
And a simple move where you wave the hand across, the face and come to the side like this.
Yeah.
Is actually, it could be a block this way and grab the
Yeah.
wrist and pull it down, or it could be
Yeah.
just take the wrist and bring the whole hand down to the side without grabbing the wrist. Okay, so
Yes. Wow.
it could be a number of things.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
the teacher felt like if I tell you exactly what it is, that's the way you would think it would be, and it would take away your creativity. So he wanted you to figure a lot of things out yourself. A lot of my teachers were that way. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. No, that is so wonderful to, hear how you experienced it, how you're bringing this to people. And it brings me to the question, and I know you have such a diverse, almost poetic, I would call it, a ministry that you're busy with, because, you're really investing into people's lives. I want to pin that wording. That's how I feel. When you said you didn't even know the 4 pillars were there, I thought that's actually so poetic, because after all the years of everything that you did, it just all naturally came together.
Yeah.
So,
it is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I was thinking about what to write, I'm like, okay, I knew martial arts and I knew Qigong and I knew kettlebells. And I'm like, how do you, each pillar is its own bookshelf. Okay. It
Wow.
comes up to be that each one is its own bookshelf. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I put all the bookshelves together in one book and I connect them through the program. And I didn't realize that's what I was doing until I put it on paper.
Amazing.
How about that?
And then the artwork came out. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's such an inspiration. Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. So it inspired me to write my next book. Okay. I know I'm trying to figure out the title and, I'm talking it out, and The Art of Being Well, which is the title of this book. It didn't take a lot of creativity, but I realized that's what it was. It's not a fitness program. And people who look at it, people who know my fitness background, they say Marvin wrote a book on fitness. I'm like, oh God, they don't get it. Okay. But that's how it always was. Okay. I mean, I'm not surprised that they don't get it. I'm like, just, that's the way it is. So it's like, well, Marvin wrote a book on martial arts. Some people are thinking it's a book on martial arts, and others saying, what's he talking about? Being well, he does fitness, he does kettlebells. Yeah. So they're still, they have to read it and kind of put their mindset into the book and follow the program. A few folks have read it and said it's beautiful, and some just love it like crazy, and others, I'm still getting feedback, and all the feedback I'm getting is positive. I haven't received anything other than that, but I don't know what's going to come back eventually. But I think a lot of folks who've taken my program have given feedback. I don't know many folks who haven't taken my program, even though I have gotten feedback from folks who haven't taken the program, who get the program. I haven't gotten feedback from folks who are totally outside of the program. So you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So as it spreads out, it'd be curious to see how
Yeah.
folks respond back to the book. I like to, and I'm ready
Yes.
for whatever they have to say because it's interesting for people how they see, envision their training, and you know how it
Yeah.
goes. So we'll see how it
Absolutely.
goes.
That's how it goes. Yeah, we need that feedback.
Yes,
Absolutely. Constructive criticism is always good, especially
absolutely.
in karate or martial arts.
That's right. Oh, my martial arts. You know, I didn't want it to become a controversial subject, so I didn't get into the style, like I mentioned earlier, into the styles of the martial arts.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
love their martial art like a passion, and I'm not going to touch that at all. Okay, not at all.
Yeah.
I
You
want to
just want
encourage that.
to,
Only
yeah.
encourage martial arts. Really, I
Yeah.
love them all. Love all the
Absolutely.
styles.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's such an inspiration, and I'm learning so much. And I know that you've mentioned that you are a cancer survivor and that
Yes.
you are your wife's caregiver. And I wanted to ask this question to uplift and really elevate people out there. What during that time and the things that you faced and are facing, what keeps you going? What kept you going through all of that turmoil?
Yeah, it's a really great question. You know, these things change your life when you have these things looking at you in the face, and you're saying, "Wow, I can." Am I going to live or am I going to die? Right? Or what's going to happen? And you have to go through these surgeries, and it changes the way you view the world. And until you've experienced that, you won't recognize it.
Yeah.
You can always say you're going to understand it, but until it's facing you, there's a person in my neighborhood now that, you know, I don't know what the diagnosis was, but they were very upset. And I think they may have not gotten such a good diagnosis.
Mm.
And now they seem very depressed. Okay. So, you know, it changes you regardless. And it changed me too. When I got diagnosed with cancer. I had prostate cancer. I got diagnosed with it. I got treated early and was able to take care of things. But the discovery of it
Yeah.
was something that came from a not normal perspective. I wasn't, you know, didn't come to a normal examination. I'm not going to get into how it was discovered, but once I made the decision on how I was going to move forward,
Yeah.
my training changed. Okay, the
Wow.
way my interest and my focus on training came
Yeah.
because I realized you have to go to a certain level of rehab. I also had a hip replacement, and I did things like that through like I mentioned, all the hard training I did.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
shows up. It tears your body down. Okay,
Yeah.
and improper training in certain ways. I know what to do and what not to do now. Better how to train the body more
Yeah.
systemically and safely. So
Yes.
being diagnosed with like cancer, um, on the rehab, I found this is when I discovered kettlebells. Okay, I discovered kettlebells after the diagnosis of cancer and the rehab portions of it. During the rehab, I understood that rehab focuses on a different perspective than normal training. You go into
Yeah.
the hospital feeling like, you know, I'm in the best shape I can be, or you're probably right. But as you start going through rehab, you realize that, oh my God, you know, this is something I never experienced before. This is totally
Wow.
different, and
Wow.
it's hard, right? It's very hard.
Yes.
So is my training actually preparing me for areas in my life that are important? And is my training focusing on just where I am now to be better at being good? If I'm already good, I'm healthy, I'm just
I
working on being
like it.
better. But what happens when you're not so healthy? Is your training going to help you then? So
Mm. Yeah.
exercises and kettlebell strength help me understand that the kettlebell exercises help me to get stronger in a different perspective than martial arts. I didn't have to move as much, but I can still
Yeah.
maintain a martial arts ability of, we call it Jing, which is Jing is the power at the end of the punch, or Jing energy is
Yeah.
a powerful
Wow.
energy developed through martial arts training.
Yeah.
So kettlebells help me maintain that important part of martial arts training, kung fu training,
Mhm.
because of the rooting of the ground. And I didn't have to move as much. I could do most of the
Yeah. Wow.
exercises in a 4x4 space. And I said,
Yeah.
this is an amazing discovery that I can
Mhm.
now bring another tool into my training, which actually benefits my training and
Yes.
helps me in a rehabilitation type perspective.
Mhm. Mhm.
And the exercise is introduced through Pavel Satsulin through the kettlebell. He was the guru who brought kettlebells to this country. The Turkish get up, another amazing kettlebell exercise.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this exercise, how you get up from the floor with the kettlebell. This one particular exercise is a great rehab type exercise. And
Oh.
if you cannot do a Turkish get up, and I find that folks just can't do it because their bodies haven't been coordinated enough to get it right, it's an
Yeah.
important skill set that they need to
Yeah.
learn. And one of my students told me that I ran a seminar on the Turkish get up, and it's a complex move of how to get off the floor with the weight.
Yeah.
So the seminar I run is a 2-hour workshop. Okay, it's a 2-hour
Wow.
workshop on how to do this exercise.
Yeah.
Uh, and at the end of the workshop, I got these great comments from some of the folks in there. They're at a yoga studio. They said that Marvin's an expert in movement because he taught everybody. It was a class of about 22 people. He taught everybody in that class
Yeah.
how to get up off the floor with a kettlebell within 2 hours. And
Wow.
this was really good. This was really good. So one of the students, no one no one really seems to like this particular exercise because it's not, it's
Is it
complex,
uncomfortable?
right? You have to look it up now. It's complex. So I don't really teach it on Zoom, but I teach it more on one-on-ones. But
Yeah.
once you learn it, you realize how important it was.
Yeah.
Okay, it's one of these things, these aha moments.
Yeah.
So one of the students said they also had a major life event where they were in the hospital, and they
Yeah.
had to deal with a situation of getting out the bed, and they remembered the Turkish get up, and the Turkish get up helped
Mhm.
them get out of bed when they
Yeah.
were thinking they couldn't do it. And as soon as their mind had something that could, they said, "Oh my God, I had to reach for that bottle of water." And until she can
Yeah.
activate the muscles they were used in a Turkish get up, she couldn't get to that bottle of water, which is right by her bedside. Okay. So
Wow.
when I get stories back like that,
Yeah.
I say that the program is working. These are the things that
I
are
think.
important. They are
Yeah.
really important. Okay. Because I
Yeah.
remember being in
Life
a
skill.
hospital bed and
Yeah.
you ask for help, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, if I could have done that myself, it would
Yeah.
have been so much better. So I rehab fast because I knew these drills and I got better with them. And you're able to rehab faster because your body's already prepared for life situations. I run a
Mhm.
class also on how to get up from the ground if you fall. And
Oh.
it's an
Yeah.
important skill set that I say everyone really needs to learn this skill because if you
Mhm.
fall,
Yeah.
that means something happened that caused you to
Yeah.
fall, okay,
Yeah.
which is one thing. But also, if you fall, you may also break a wrist or a hand or something, and
Yes.
you think you can get up with both hands, but that may not be available to you. So, understanding how to get up off the ground with no hands is a skill
Yeah.
set that can be learned, and anyone can do it once you learn it. My wife it worked for my wife. I've seen these things work in real
Yeah.
world, okay, where people
Yes.
can't
Real,
get up with
real
their hands.
time.
They have to learn to get up with their core. So
Wow.
these all go into my program. These type of
Yeah.
training philosophies and
Yeah.
are all part of the program, which are underlined within the program, but it's part of it.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
people that get it, and others have to learn it. But the book is to
Mhm.
help them understand it.
Wonderful to understanding why they are doing what they are doing. And you were talking
Yeah.
about how to get up, from the ground. And
Yes.
you will know that in the martial arts, they teach us how to fall. If you
Yes.
fall, how to do a break fall. And it's interesting how you've mentioned that you've seen it in real life, because something happened to me last summer. It was raining and someone was at my gate, and I ran out my house. And when you go around the corner of my house, there is a slippery, if it rains, there's a bit of mud. So I was in a big hurry and I slipped. And right next to that muddy patch, there is cement. And if I did not know how to do a brake fall, I'm sure I would have broken something, because the moment I slipped, I knew how to fall. And I didn't get hurt at all. I didn't have a scratch. I didn't have any blue marks. And I went to the dojo and I said to my Kiyoshi, I said, thank you for teaching me how to fall, because I didn't break anything. Yeah, these things
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very important. These are real life these are things your brain needs to know.
Yeah.
If you don't have the knowledge, or you never, it's military training it gives you a wide exposure to different things, just so that your brain has information if you ever have to use it. Okay, how to shoot a gun or whatnot. It's not the first time when you got to get it right. If you have to get it, like the first time I see a gun, like, oh, what the heck, I do it. So the military teaches you this skill set, and this is what I bring in from the military training, that you have to have information in order to survive. There's a martial art protection system I learned from Tim Larkin. He taught the TFT system and target focus training. And his philosophy was self-protection is like swimming.
Yeah.
You learn how to swim as a survival skill. Okay. It's a recreational skill, but it's also a survival skill, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So he takes the approach to self-protection as a survival skill.
Yeah.
So what you learn, you don't need to use it until you need to use it in a survival situation. Okay.
Yes.
But if your brain doesn't have the information about how to swim on dry land, right, nor how to swim in a sea of violence, is how he calls it, you just become a victim of violence, right? So I love that philosophy, because it teaches you to have a toolbox that you can pull out if you ever need it. You won't just be there cowering when you know that your brain says, I've seen this before, and now I can actually do something to protect myself, and it can save you from being a victim. Okay.
Amazing. You were saying, it comes out that from what you've said, that martial arts teach you how to swim on dry land in a sea of violence.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember that like forever.
Yeah. You want to have information, because you never have to pull it out until you need to pull it out. And this is what you want. Now I find out that folks don't want to learn that level of violence, because they feel like they never would need anything like that. And, I feel totally different. I think knowing how to swim doesn't mean you plan on drowning. Okay. It means that you know how to swim. You learn how to swim for fun. And now if you get thrown in, you won't drown. So that's not why, So the same thing with self-protection or martial art.
Yeah.
So, I just want to let them know that if you can have information that's available to you, then your body will respond when you need it to respond. And that's kind of where the strength training philosophy comes from. You need to be strong. You know where to get the strength from. Okay. You learn from how to push it from the ground. I tell folks, if you opening or pushing or closing the door, you use your body, you use your feet, you push. You just don't use your arm, your hand. And I take, use your class, what you learn here, and take it outside and use it every day when you're going through your life. Okay. Look at, keep your eyes up. Don't look at the ground. Focus on, important parts. Walk straight, be aware of where you're walking. Don't be looking at the phone all the time and things like that. So they figure it out.
Yeah, I heard yesterday when you had your interview, I heard how you described that, perpetrators are people that victimize people that they perceive to be weak. And we also learn in the dojo that if you go out and you walk in town, you walk with intention. and you walk upright, and I even put on a frown. I even look like I'm cross about something, because I live in a big town. Sometimes when you go out of town, there's a lot of people on the street, and I have the kids. So you walk with intention, you make your base big, and you walk with confidence. And I heard that yesterday, and I thought to myself, yes, that is exactly what we are also being taught, because if they see you slouch and they see you, looking down, or you're not focused, then they will obviously try and make you their victim. So you're really teaching amazing principles. I love that.
Oh, that's good. And, martial artists kind of get that through the course of their training. But I said, these are lessons that people need to learn right from the back, right from the beginning. And I know Tim Larkin's program, Target Focused Training, was focused on that intent. He was responsible for developing a program for people who would be normal construction or contractors who get transferred to hostile locations, say a construction guy. I mentioned, like in the CBs, he's not in the CBs, but he's a construction person, and he's going to go to Afghanistan for like a contracting company. Okay. Yeah. So instead of just sending that person over there without any idea of what that environment entails, it's a different environment than you hear at home. Okay. You go to that environment, you can be kidnapped, you can be, you're an American citizen and you're in another country and it's a wartime and you're just trying to do a job, but that's not how they may see you over there. Sometimes they may see you as a different. So you need to understand or learn awareness tactics and self-protection methods that really work in case you need to do it. So his responsibility was to train these kind of people. And that developed his program of target focused training, was drilled down, which is not really a martial art. It's about understanding how to create violence or to use violence on another person that they may be trying to use on you. It's a toolbox you pull out that really that's designed to injure another person. So it's not very popular, but people get it and they like it.
Awesome. I'm thinking it's kind of like flipping the script on your attacker. They still think they're going to attack you, and then they become the victim.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. That's you flip the switch on them. And folks, there are stories from his class that he's telling me. He mentioned stories of feedback from people who have taken this class after 3 days, 3-day course, that they were in a situation immediately after that course, and they realized that what they had to do was what they learned, and it worked. When it said that a person came into his store, he owns a store, a person came into his store and he was forced to use violence, and he realized that all I got to do is get a result. He pushed the guy's head into the wall and he knocked him out, right? And he understood, it works, okay? If he didn't have that information, he would have didn't known what to do, but he had to do something. He realized he just needed to get a result. And that's what he did. So, it wasn't a pretty, but he survived.
That's like flipping the script, like seriously.
Absolutely, flip the script. I like that, flip the script. That's a good one.
Awesome. Thank you, Marvin. I've got 3 questions left for you. And they are the following. And this is just something I put in here because we also want to know you as an individual. And I want to ask you, how would you describe the perfect day? What is the perfect day like for you?
Oh my gosh. Oh, a perfect day. That's a good one. I think that will put you on the hot spot. That's a challenging one. But I think a perfect day starts with a perfect night.
Oh yes.
So I think if I slept well, and a perfect day. A perfect day is I usually get up at 5:30. Okay, that's the time I have my clock set every morning, 5:30. Now, if I didn't go to bed at 2:00, it's a much better perfect day at 5:30. Okay. But if I go to bed early and I get up at 5:30, the perfect day is to take a nice walk. I take a walk in the morning, or when it's dark. Okay, I like it when it's dark and it starts to light up. As I finish in my
Wow.
walk, it starts to see the sunset, start to come up. I'll go to a park and work on the playground, which has plenty of exercise apparatuses for me to do what I want, pull-ups, and I'll practice
Yeah.
some qigong and maybe some martial arts. And I'll walk to the Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee. Okay,
Oh, lovely.
as I finish my training, I go to the Dunkin' Donuts and have a coffee, and I'll look at some emails, or I have my book running in my ear. I forget to have my books playing in my ears. I'm doing all this in the morning, and
Yeah.
I have my coffee and sit there, and I have nowhere else to go. I just feel like it's just relax. I have no rush to get from where I am to the next place, and I
Yeah.
hang out there, and I just sit there, and I'll take a book. I'm listening to books, but I'll read emails or just something fun, that just look at things. And when I'm done doing that, I'll get up and I'll walk home, and then I'll make myself a nice protein shake, and I'll have that nice frothy shake, and I'll get ready for classes to teach. And it's very peaceful. And if my wife is feeling well, then it's a really good day, and there's no stress. And that's to me, that's a perfect day. And my daughter is not being stressed for school or anything, and she's having a good day. And when they're having a good day, I had a good night, and I was able to do that. And I had a couple classes in the evening. That's a good day.
Wow, you articulated that so well. I actually saw how it unfolded as you were speaking. It is so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and it just comes to the fore again that you just love other people. You know, if they are having a good day, you are having a good day, and you are such a peaceful and kind person, and it really just shines through. It shines through, that leadership and that, you know, that heart for people. I love that. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. And I realized that when that balance is not there, because you asked a very good question, as I think about it a little bit more, you know, that balance goes into the 8 dimensions of wellness, which I'm discussing here.
Yeah.
When that is thrown off and my perfect day is not my perfect day, that means the dimensions, I need to adjust it. So I may not be able to stay and relax at the Dunkin' Donuts because, you know, after my coffee and chill, I may have to go somewhere else, which is has to be done. But the perfect day is when I can do that. Okay. But the other days, life is important. I may have to shorten my walk. I may have to shorten my time working out because there are other things that are pressing. But the perfect day is what I would like to see happen the first time, the first scenario.
That. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so happy I asked that question.
Good. That's a good one. Yeah.
My next question for you, Marvin, is what is next for you? What is next on your agenda?
Well, I'm focusing on book 2. Okay. I read book 1, and actually there's another version of book 1 that's actually 100 pages more. Okay. And I've changed some of the things in book 1 so I can drill down more on the completeness. I drilled down, I took out some of the things of the original version so that the first version is more focused on my system, right? On what I wanted to talk about, and not get into some of the other overarching parts of the martial arts or qigong. I didn't want to go there in this book. But after reading it, I feel like I can expand a little more on the wellness sides of people that I described to you, that are, say, the caregivers and folks who are giving me feedback that say they really enjoy it. I'm seeing that there's a group of folks out there that can benefit more from information in this book. So I'm going to try, I think I'm going to address their concerns more in the next book. And I think by addressing their concerns, I'm also addressing more of my own concerns and the people who are, I like to think of them as the people we don't always consider are the ones that are suffering so hard, but they're giving their all the time. Like we said, the caregivers, they're not sickly, but they certainly give a lot. And the patients, they're always trying so hard. How do you create a program that they feel good, that they can keep pushing? What makes them want to keep pushing? So I'm gonna expand. I believe that's the area I'm gonna go in the next project. So I have people I'm working with. We're figuring out the website, how to get the book promoted. I'm going to be working with the CLA as far as how to figure out a good time to launch the book. And there's a lot of things involved. Now that I know what it takes to put out a book, we're just going to do it better the next time and come up with more material that's simple and hopefully can attract and help as many people as possible, attract them and help them get through their concerns.
Amazing. That is such a wonderful plan. And, we are going to be cheering you on this journey of yours. And I am so blessed to know you and honored to be able to be a part of your life and the CLA and everything that you're doing. We're cheering you on, and we know that you are going to bring such a great impact in so many lives. And really, that is the heart of leadership. You are a tremendously strong, proactive leader in the community, and we value you. We need more of you. Please duplicate yourself in your students.
You said something amazing again with this duplication. You're always looking to pass on what you know. And actually, I'm working with a new student who's just totally fascinated with the program, and he wants to teach. He wants to help as many people. He figured he wants to do this the rest of his life, and his vision has just expanded. And kettlebells can do that to you. I'm telling you, man, they can be. They pull into you. So, hey, maybe he's the next person that wants to move forward. I said, I'll teach you to teach my program, and anybody who wants to learn my program, I'm here to help them get there. I think I think it will help them. Plus, it will help them do what they want to do, help other folks.
Fantastic. And that brings us to our last question. Do you have any words of wisdom for the audience that you would like to share with them?
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully it's not just words of wisdom to myself, that they can accept it as words of wisdom for them. But I think that every person ought to look at themselves and do an assessment on their own physical conditioning. What do you really need, or what do you think you're missing that can help you get through the next day? Don't be so hard on yourself. Learn to love yourself and appreciate your abilities and how you are today, and just try to be the best you can be every day. And whether it's just your mindset or your physical abilities, just always strive to do that. And I think that will help you. I think that's the way to go.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom from someone with such a big heart, someone that really wants to invest into other people's lives, who has the knowledge and experience. Thank you for sharing this precious time with us. We deeply appreciate you. May you be blessed in all your endeavors. And I'm hoping to see you in Jan, and I'm sure we'll have to, just collaborate and have a coffee together, or just have a chat. And it's just wonderful to know you. Thank you, Marvin. You are amazing.
Thank you. And I look forward to that, Juanita. Appreciate the time. Really do.
Thank you very much. And to the Meticulous Moments audience, thank you for joining us. We know that you've taken a lot of information from this session. Go and apply it. Go and, follow Marvin on his social media. Cheer him on with us as he transforms society into a better place. And let's look at that beautiful book. Just reiterate your book details for us, Marvin, please.
Okay. It's called The Art of Being Well. I just had to get it republished because the title was incorrect on Amazon, but everything is correct now. So
Oh,
you just put in the search words "Art of Being Well," and you will see that this book pops up. And go ahead and purchase it. It's $24.95 on Amazon. If you want to get a signed copy of it, just send it to send me go to coachmarvinking.com, and I will be happy to sign that book for you and send it back to you. So I think it's a great book to put on your bookshelf. It's easy reading. I'll just show you real quick on the pages. It's a nice, easy reading. It's 6x9 and a double space. And folks say, "Well, I'm going to read it because it's simple to read." And at least it, and a lot of folks say it's like conversational talking to me after they read it or taking the class. They say this is how I talk in class, which is kind of cool. Conversational tone. So I believe it's just worth a read, and I hope you appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are going to go onto Amazon and get our copies. Audience, I want to ask you to do the same. Get this book, Transform Your Life. We are going to make the contact details and the particulars of how to get the book and how to reach Marvin available at the end of the session. Please network with him, reach out to him. He is such a special individual. Make him part of your circle. It will be a blessing to you. So thank you so much for joining, and God bless everyone. See you in the next session. Thank you, Marvin.
Thank you.